Well, here now to talk more about this, former NPR correspondent, author of The Stolen Year, How COVID Changed Children's Lives and Where We Go Now, Anya Kamenetz. Anya, thank you so much for being here. We always talk about children being very resilient, but we're learning that this fallout from this COVID year is still ongoing. So what are you most concerned about? We heard about a lot of negatives there in Sloan's report.
Yes, absolutely. I think what I'm most concerned about is our lack of collective urgency to redress this harm that was done to children all over the world. And we know from this meta-analysis and many other studies that the harm fell worst on the least advantaged, right? So the bigger the gaps we're seeing all over the world with lower income kids, and then in our country, kids with disabilities and kids from minority groups. So what are we going to do as a society to make it up to the kids? They're not going to be resilient unless they have the support that they need.
And Anya, in your book, you wrote that we failed as a nation to put children first during the pandemic. Explain why you say that.
We are pretty much the only country in the world that was content with having open bars and restaurants and closed schools. We had open dog parks and closed playgrounds. We just failed to put children first in our decision making in any clear way. Now, the pandemic took many different courses in many different places, and our children suffered not only from the school closures. There was economic upheaval. There was obviously the deaths of many, many parents and caregivers. All of that is terrible, but uniquely in the United States, what I fault us for doing is not putting our children at the center of our decision making and saying, you know what? Close the bars, open the schools.
Yeah, there was certainly a struggle to kind of figure out how to navigate, through everything. Anya, how do you think teacher burnout plays into all of this as well?
The teachers that I've spoken to, many of whom have their own kids in school, right? They have been torn apart, not only by the debate and the acrimony over school closures, but the culture wars that have come at the same time. And now what we're doing is we're asking them to put even more time in, to give extra learning time. Now that's what research says that kids need. They need that after school and those summer learning programs. But without a lot of effort to make teaching a respected profession and supported, it's probably not going to work.
Well, as I said, trying to navigate through this was tough. There was the COVID restrictions, there was the masking, the learning from home, all highly debated as we look back. Now, where we are in 2023, did it go too far? Did it possibly do more harm than good overall?
Hindsight is always 20/20. What I would hope that going forward is that we could have the same recognition that they had in many of our peer countries, which is that education and early education, childcare, is a human right. That children, many times, the safest and the most enriching place for them is going to be in a school building with caring, loving adults. And so we need to make sure that that service is available to kids, that we don't take it away for arbitrary reasons, and that we commit as a society to making sure that these kids get to come back and to have the services that they need so they can hopefully progress forward from here.
Absolutely. Anya, you're a mom. There's a lot of parents and grandparents who are watching this. We always want to talk about solutions. What would you say to them? What are some solutions here for those people wondering how to fix this?
I talk to parents and educators all over the country, and I always tell them, you can make this right with your kids. Your kids are going to have the ability to come back from this. We need to recognize the strength that our kids exhibited and the grit that they have, because this COVID generation, they went through something that none of us could have imagined. And for the most part, they are focused on their futures. They're focused on moving forward. A little bit of math and reading, there's time for all of that. What's most important is that your kid enjoys school, that they find success in school, and that they have something about themselves that they're proud of.
Absolutely. All right. Anya, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.